I refused to support my sister financially after she quit her job because why? No. She's not unhealthy or something wrong. She's just too lazy. Let me give you the full scoop. My sister, 33 female, used to be married. I, 29 female, am single and has never been married. A year ago, my sister's ex-husband, 38, filed for divorce and left her. The reason he divorced her was because she had wanted to quit her job and be a stay-at-home mom to my nephew, who was 3 years old at the time. They both worked full-time and they had a housekeeper come once a week, and a part-time nanny for their son. My sister did not want to do any household chores when she was staying home, and still wanted to keep the housekeeper and nanny. Without her salary, they could not afford it, and she said her husband could work a second 20-hour-a-week job on top of the full-time job he already had. She also wanted to spend exactly the same. Her husband wasn't on board with this, and he did not want her to just up and quit her job. Well, she quit one day anyways, and only told him after the fact. So, he filed for divorce. In the divorce, my sister wanted alimony, even though the law did not really call for it in this situation, since she was able to work and walked out on her job by her choice. The court counted against her. She was not awarded alimony because of that, and because she earned the exact same amount as her ex-husband. The court also awarded them 50-50 shared legal and physical custody of my nephew. The court's preferred method was 1 week on and 1 week off, but they can do whatever they want as long as the time is split equally. My sister has to have him on Mother's Day, and her ex-husband on Father's Day, and holidays and his birthday are alternated by year. Since the time is equally split and their income and earnings was always the same, example, her ex-husband wasn't a lot richer than her. Neither of them had to pay child support to each other. The court counted my sister's former job and the fact there was nothing stopping her from working as income that she was making. They did not own a home or property as they rented. Her ex-husband kept putting money in the bank account and paying the bills so his son would be okay and so his credit would not be affected. The lease is up on the last day of March and it isn't paid beyond that. My sister has no job and can't afford the apartment, so she has to move. Her ex-husband's no longer giving her money since the divorce became final. My sister hasn't looked for a job. She's lost her appeal to the courts ruling for alimony and child support. She wants to live with me and for me to financially support her. Our parents are in their 60s and recently sold their house, paid off any debt that they had, and moved into an apartment for active seniors. It's small but nice. Their siblings and both sets of our grandparents live in a similar kind of apartment building. Our cousins also live in either apartments or condos and are married with more than one baby/child. They don't have any room for her. Our parents have enough left from their house sale and pensions to afford their rent and bills for the rest of their life. But they're not super rich and cannot afford to support my sister. I'm single, I'm working towards my PhD, and will have it in a few months. I was living with 2 other PhD students who just finished theirs. One got engaged and moved in with her boyfriend. The other got a job overseas. I found a small bachelor apartment for myself. My sister is mad that I did not choose a bigger place so she could move in with me. She also wants me to support her financially once I complete my PhD and start working. How do I get her and my family off my back? I don't want to live with her. She has a college degree and there's no reason she can't work behind her being lazy. I'm not worried about my nephew because her ex-husband's the best and most devoted father ever and will step in if she isn't looking after him. She said she'll find a rich husband, but her parenting and divorce settlement says neither of them can introduce any new boyfriend or girlfriend to my nephew, or have an overnight visitor if my nephew's with them without permission from a judge. How do I get my sister and family, parents, aunts, uncles, and cousins to stop asking me to live with her, even temporarily? My sister was never this much of an idiot before she quit her job. She's fully able to work, and I don't want to support her habits. I don't know if I'm the only one, but the more I read, I just thought how absurd it is that a full-grown woman with a college degree is just expecting her family to pay for her. She doesn't have a job or anything, and there's nothing wrong with her. So I'm not exactly sure how many red flags I read in this story, but it was a lot. Let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section down below. Our next story we're going to look at today involves a 19-year-old male. I've recently found out that my older sister, 34 female, is actually my biological mother. My older sister, let's call her Rose, and I have a great relationship since I was a baby. We were raised with an amazing adoptive family, and she's always taking care of me. I grew up in a very warm and loving environment, but from what I was told, I was lucky. I was told the story of how me and my sister had two drug-addicted parents who never took care of us. They never bothered feeding us and used to leave us out in junky friends' houses for days just to go out partying. When my mom was pregnant with me, she smoked and got drunk. Luckily, I turned out pretty fine. Pretty often, and when I was born, my sister was the only one who took care of me. When I was 2 months old, they left us both in a mall and just left. We got help from an old couple who also turned into our adoptive family. And we contacted the police, but my parents weren't at the house, which looked like a homeless cave. We never saw them again, and after several months in foster care, the couple that helped us, through the whole way, by the way, agreed to adopt us. Today, I'm 19 and Rose is 34. I still live with my entire adoptive family, and she lives about 20 minutes away, so I come visit her at least 3 to 4 times a week. So, a couple months ago, my friend offered to give me a DNA test to find some information about my heritage, since my sister would not speak of them much. After the results came in, and I found out some pretty interesting things, like being 50% Ashkenazi Jewish. I found out later that I had an aunt who's 33 in the system. I immediately reached out to her, let's call her Jeanette, and we agreed to meet in person. All that without telling Rose a thing. When we met up, I could see we have some similar characteristics like same hair color, same eyes. We tried to figure things out, so I asked her if she has a brother or a sister, and she told me when she was 13, her 14-year-old sister got pregnant while being drunk with her junkie boyfriend. And a month after giving birth, she ran away with the baby after some pretty intensive fights with their parents. They never found her and stopped looking after 2 years. I connected the dots, asked to see a picture of her, so we went to her parents' house. Mom wasn't home and father died 3 years ago. When I saw the picture, I knew this was Rose. 100%. Rose is my mother. We were never abandoned. We did not have junkie parents, and she fabricated the entire thing to me and our adoptive family. I immediately gave Jeanette a hug and told her that it's too much for me right now, and asked her to keep a secret for now. I went to my best friend's house, told him everything, and for a week now, I'm sleeping over at his place. I told my parents and my sister I'm at his house because he bought a new game that we both wanted for long, and avoided talking to Rose much. I can't look her in the eyes right now, let alone tell her I know the truth. What the hell am I supposed to do? How should I handle this? Should I tell her how I know? Edit. My best friend just took me out for a movie and a drink. I'm not that drunk right now, though. I thank you all so much for your warm replies. Make me look at the situation a bit closer. I've decided to break it to Rose this week, but I need some time to think about how to tell her I know. I don't know if I should try getting there slowly, or just break the news to her somehow. I even considered bringing her sister with me, but I genuinely think she'll be pissed. I'll keep updating as soon as I decide how to tell her. Right now, going to bed to sleep it over. Alright guys, here's the update. So, after a week of avoiding, I came home to her house with a picnic basket by surprise. So, I'll have a chance to speak with her. She was happy to see me and I told her to sit down because we needed to talk. I started things with saying that I know that she has a secret, and that she's been hiding it from me for years. Her face turned red, and she started crying like hell. She knew what I was talking about. I told her the story about the DNA test, about Jeanette, and basically what I told you guys in the last post. Well, after she calmed down a bit, she told me the truth. She told me how she got drunk at a party and slept with one of the jerks who does nothing but marijuana all day. He did not really care about a future kid and was like, yeah, whatever. Apparently, she found out that 10 years ago he was stabbed in prison after sitting for drug dealing, assault, and armed robbery. She told me how her mother used to convince her father to talk me out of the idea of keeping the baby. They would constantly fight with her. When the baby was born, they told her on the spot that she brought shame upon the family, and they will not help raising the baby in any way or form. Meaning she'll have to work, meanwhile, to have money for her kid, and sometimes for herself. After a couple of months of loaning from friends and juggling between working, taking care of me, she had a huge fight with her parents, and told them that if they're not helping financially, and barely in any sort of way, she and me are better off without them. As they sent her to her room, she escaped in the middle of the night, hitched to a very close nearby country, and by morning she was there already. She tried to take care of me for a few days. She found an old abandoned house that we used to have homeless people coming around every now and then, and she took me to the mall when I started crying. She started crying too. The couple that adopted us immediately came to our aid, and asked if we lost our mother. Rose jumped up on the opportunity and came up with a story and an alias. Police figured out that we're not in the system for multiple reasons. We were raised in foster care for a year and a half, until the couple that helped us decide to make the effort and adopt us, so we won't be separated. It took them a few months and a couple of lawyers, but they managed to adopt us both. Rose knew all along that her parents are looking for her. They came to their senses after a day or so. She reached out to them and told them in a letter that she's fine and taking care of herself and me. She's not homeless and found a nice couple to help her with the baby. She made it clear for them she's never coming back and they should stop looking. And a month after that, they stopped. A few years later, her father went on a quest to find her. She was after 18. It was a secret quest, and after so much time searching, he found her, and apologized, and after a while, she forgave him, and kept secretly in touch with him. He met me a few times, and I knew him as one of Rose's old friends from the park. He helped us a few times, and apparently, they would meet up once every 2 months secretly. Ironically, I'm glad I got to know him before he passed, even if I didn't know who he really was. By the way, the adoptive family never found out about the whole thing. So, after hearing this, I told her we missed a lot by not knowing she's my mother. And I told her I understood she did the right thing. I pulled out a "It's a boy" sign from the picnic basket and some snacks for a late baby shower, and we hugged for an hour or so. So we did have a lot of fun. Watched a movie, and I headed off to my parents' adoptive house to have dinner with them. I'm glad she's my mother. I feel for the first time in years, complete. I don't care if she lied because she did it for the greater good. And I honestly can't imagine my life right now if she didn't. Thanks guys for helping me getting my feelings straight, and helping me out mentally to cope with everything that's happened. So, this might be one of the most interesting stories I've read in a long time, because this was crazy. I read in the comment section, this needs to be a movie. Then, here's a little trivia fact. I learned something I did not know. This is almost the life of Jack Nicholson. You should look his life up. He found out that his sister was actually his mother, and his mother was actually his grandmother, and found out during an interview about the truth after his mother and grandmother passed away. Imagine that story. I want to cover that story. Okay guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. And our final story of the day. Sister-in-law got pregnant on purpose. Why? Because I wanted a baby first. I'm 31 female, and dear husband 37 have been married for 10 plus years. We decided to explore the world, improve our finances, and settle in our careers before planning a family. So, after our 10th anniversary, we decided to extend our little family. Both my husband's siblings are doctors, so we shared our plans with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and asked for any dietary changes or tests needed beforehand, just to be on the safe side. We also specifically mentioned that we will try to start from February onwards. We still have a few months to change anything in our daily routine if needed. Brother-in-law, 34, has been married to his wife's sister-in-law for 2 years. Brother-in-law was very happy for us and obviously shared this with his wife. Surprise, surprise! Brother-in-law's wife announced her pregnancy in February's first week, claiming it was an accident. I was literally pissed because she sabotaged our moment. My husband said it might have been an accident and asked me to focus on my health and be happy. After a few weeks, dear husband and I found out that we were also expecting. My parents-in-law were beyond happy because they were expecting this news for a very long time. Well, a few months passed and my sister-in-law starts making remarks as to how our child will get everything, as we're both doing very well, and they're not really in a good financial situation. My brother-in-law is starting his career and has a lot of debt as well. Sister-in-law, on the other hand, is well educated and was working before her wedding, and is now a housewife because she doesn't want to do anything. Recently, my husband got a call from his brother-in-law, asking for some money citing his financial condition. My husband, being a good brother, lent him close to $5,000. I don't mind this, but I'm beyond pissed because of my sister-in-law's comments. Every time she calls me, she tries to give me the wrong advice on how much and what I should eat, since we're both pregnant. After the anatomy scan, I shared the reports with brother-in-law. The next day, she called me and said my baby's fat, and I should eat less, and how I need to go for a C-section if I don't control my baby's unborn weight. All this and more, and now she's trying to pull more drama. Even with our extended family when somebody asked about me. She made a narcissistic comment. Okay guys, I want to read a comment that offers a little advice on this story. You're giving your sister-in-law too much power and way too much information. It's time for an information diet, and to Grey Rock, offer as little information as possible and be as uninterested as possible in her advice. I honestly think this idea might work, but if you have another opinion you would shoot OP, let me hear it. Drop it in the comment section down below. That's all the stories I have time for you guys today. It's all I could find. Tomorrow, I have a very interesting story coming out, and I cannot wait for that one. So subscribe so you don't miss that one. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys later.